Consider the following statements regarding the nucleic acid vaccines. Nucleic acid vaccines. Plasmids carrying a piece of DNA encoding the antigen can replicate independently of the main chromosomal DNA. Unlike DNA vaccines, there is a zero risk of RNA vaccines integrating with our own genetic material. Unlike DNA vaccines, there is zero risk of RNA vaccines integrating with our own genetic material. DNA vaccines produce a much lower immune response than mRNA. DNA vaccines produce a much lower immune response than mRNA vaccines because they need to go through the extra step of entering the cell nucleus. Which of the following are the targets of the anthelmintic drugs? Which of the following are the targets of the anthelmintic drugs? Viruses. Targets of the anthelmintic drugs, viruses. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the quantum computing? Regarding the quantum computing, unlike a normal computer bit which can only be a binary, a qubit can exist in a multi-dimensional state. Superposition is a state in which multi-dimensional computational spaces are created by the qubits. When two qubits are entangled, changes to one qubit does not have impact on the other. When two qubits are entangled, changes to one qubit does not have impact on the other. Quantum computing is an area of computer science that uses the principles of quantum theory. Quantum theory explains the behavior of energy and material on the atomic and subatomic levels. Quantum computing uses subatomic particles such as electrons or photons. Quantum bits or qubits allow these particles to exist in more than one state. Classical computers today employ a stream of electrical impulses 1 and 0 in a binary manner to encode information in bits. This restricts their processing ability compared to quantum computing, unlike a normal computer bit, which can be either 0 or 1. A qubit can exist in a multi-dimensional state. Quantum processors need to be very cold, about a hundredth of a degree above absolute zero. To achieve this, supercooled superfluids are used to create superconductors. At those ultra low temperatures, certain materials in the processors exhibit another important quantum mechanical effect. Electrons move through them without resistance. This makes them superconductors. When electrons pass through superconductors, they match up, forming Cooper pairs. These pairs can carry a charge across barriers or insulators through a process known as quantum tunneling. Two superconductors placed on either side of an insulator from a Josephson junction. Superposition. A qubit itself is not very useful, but it can perform an important trick, placing the quantum information it holds into a state of superposition, which represents a combination of all possible configurations of the qubit. Group of qubits in superposition can create complex multidimensional computational spaces. Complex problems can be represented in new ways in these spaces. PCR and RT-PCR. Polymerase chain reaction is a laboratory technique for rapidly producing, amplifying millions to billions of copies of a specific segment of DNA, which can then be studied in greater detail. It involves using short synthetic DNA fragments called primers to select a segment of the genome to be amplified, and then multiple rounds of DNA synthesis to amplify that segment. RT-PCR is a variation of PCR. The two techniques the two techniques use the same process, except that RT-PCR has an added step of reverse transcription of RNA to DNA. To allow for amplification, this means PCR used for pathogens such as viruses and bacteria that already contains DNA for amplification, while RT-PCR is used for those containing the RNA that needs to be transcribed to DNA for amplification. Both techniques can be performed in real time, which means results are visible almost immediately, while when used conventionally, results are only visible at the end of the reaction. Web 5.0. The primary objective of Web 5.0 would focus on empowering users to reclaim control and ownership of their data. As of now, the Web 5.0 version is still under development. However, some experts have pointed out that Web 5.0 would be more of a combination between Web 2.0 and 3.0. Being developed by Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin business unit, the Blockhead Web 5.0 is aimed at building an extra decentralized web that put users in control of their data and identity. Both Web 3.0 and 5.0 envision an internet without the threat of censorship from governments or big tech, and without fear of significant outages. Web 5.0 is different from Web 3.0 because Web 3.0 is not truly decentralized or owned by its users, but is instead controlled by various venture capitalists and limited partners. Complete అవసరం లేదు. Which of the following are the most important proteins that are present in the muscle tissues? Actin, myosin. Which of the following are the most important proteins that are present in the muscle tissues? Actin, myosins. Alkalines with more than 16 carbon atoms, fuel oil. Alkaline with 25 carbon atoms, paraffin wax. Alkaline with 16 carbon atoms, fuel oil. Alkaline with 25 carbon atoms, paraffin wax. Which of the following statements are about green permits? Carbon offset permits allow companies or individuals to offset their carbon emissions by funding projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions elsewhere. Renewable energy certificates (RECs) verify the electricity production through renewable sources. Oriental darters come under near threatened category of IUCN. Oriental darters come under near threatened category of IUCN. Consider the following statements regarding birds and bird census in India. Okay. Which of the following statements are correct? Bomb cyclone occurs when a mid-latitude cyclone experiences a rapid drop in atmospheric pressure, resulting in a powerful storm. Carbon bomb is a coal oil or fossil gas project with a potential to emit over a gigaton of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Which of the following statements are functions of the National E-Vidhan application NEVA? National E-Vidhan application NEVA. It helps the chair of the house to conduct the proceedings of the house smoothly. National E-Vidhana application. It helps honorable members of the house to carry out their duties in the house efficiently. It helps to conduct legislative business of the house in a paperless manner. National E-Vidhana application. National E-Vidhana application. National E-Vidhan application NEVA is a workflow system developed on NIC Cloud Meghraj, which helps the chair of the house to conduct the proceedings of the house smoothly, honorable members to carry out their duties in the house efficiently, and to conduct legislative business of the house in a paperless manner. NEVA is a device neutral and member centric application created to equip them to handle diverse house business smartly by putting entire information regarding member contact details, rule of procedure, list of businesses, notices, bulletins, bills, starred or unstarred questions and answers, paper slate, committee reports, etc. in their handheld devices, tablets, and equip all legislature or departments to handle it efficiently. NEVA will completely eliminate the process of sending out a notice or request for collection of data. The application hosts a secure page for each member of the house for submitting questions and other notices. The aim of the project is to bring all the legislatures of the country together in one platform, thereby creating a massive data depository without having the complexity of multiple applications. mNEVA is a user-friendly mobile app of NEVA which is available on Android as well as on iOS. mNEVA has made information on the conduct of business in legislatures accessible anytime, anywhere to everyone. Article 80 of the Indian Constitution. Article 80 of the Indian Constitution, composition of the Council of States, says the Council of States shall consist of 12 members to be nominated by the President in accordance with the provisions of Clause 3 and not more than 238 representatives of the states and of the union territories. Clause 3 of the article lays down the qualifications for the appointment. The members to be nominated by the President shall consist of persons having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of such matters as the following, namely legislature, science, art and social service. Nominated members of Rajya Sabha enjoy all the powers and privileges to which the elected MPs are entitled. They can take part in the proceedings of the House in the normal manner. Since Rajya Sabha was constituted in 1952, a total 142 individuals have been nominated as its members. The list includes scholars, jurists, educationists, historians, scientists, literatures, journalists, engineers, economists, administrators, artists, sportspersons, social workers and politicians, mostly with loyalty to the government of the day. The first list of 12 presidential nominees has the following names: Zakir Hussain, who later became the President of India, historians Kalidas Nag and Radha Kumud Mukherjee, the eminent Hindi poet Maithili Sharan Gupta, Gandhian author Kaka Saheb Kelkar, scientist Satyendranath Bose, social worker N.R. Malkani, Dancius Rukmini Devi, Arundale, Gandhi scholar. Preventive detention. Preventive detention is when a person is held in police custody only on the basis of a suspicion that they would conduct a criminal act or cause harm to society. The police have the authority to hold anyone they suspect of committing a criminal offence. The police have the ability to make arrests without a warrant or a magistrate's authorization in certain cases. The object of preventive detention is not to punish but to prevent the detainee from doing something which is prejudicial to the state. The satisfaction of the concerned authority is a subjective satisfaction in such a manner. It comes within any of the grounds specified, like security of the state, public order, foreign affairs, services essential to the community. security of the state, public order, foreign affairs, services essential to the community. Mission Amrit Sarovar. The mission is aimed at developing and regenerating 75 water bodies in each district of the country as a part of celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Mission Amrit Sarovar. Mission Amrit Sarovar has been launched on 24th April 2022 with an objective to harvest and conserve water for future generation. The salient features of the Mission Amrit Sarovar. Mission Amrit Sarovar is based on whole of government approach with the participation from the Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Panchayat Raj, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and technical organizations. Every ministry under the mission, every district of the country will construct or regenerate at least 75 Amrit Sarovars. Under the mission, every district of the country, every district at least 75 Amrit Sarovars. Every Amrit Sarovar will have a pondage area of at least 1 acre with a water holding capacity of about 10,000 cubic meters. Every Amrit Sarovar will be surrounded by trees like neem, peepal and banyan, etc. Every Amrit Sarovar will be a source of generation of livelihoods by using of water for different purposes like irrigation, fisheries, duckery, cultivation of water chestnut, water tourism and other activities. The Amrit Sarovar will also act as a social gathering point in that locality. Mission Amrit Sarovar is a visible manifestation of the action during Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Every Amrit Sarovar site is a place for flag hosting on every Independence Day. In Mission Amrit Sarovar, freedom fighters are their family members, martyrs, family members, Padma awardees are associated. The Mission Amrit Sarovar works through the states and districts with convergence from various schemes such as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, Mahatma Gandhi NREGS. 15th Finance Commission grants Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana sub-schemes such as watershed development component, Har Khet Ko Pani. Besides states own scheme, public contribution like crowdfunding and corporate social responsibility is also allowed for the work. The Mission Amrit Sarovar focuses on water conservation, people's participation and proper utilization of soil excavated from the water bodies to boost infrastructural projects. Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and other public agencies engaged for infrastructure project development are also engaged in the mission for the purpose of use of soil or silt excavated and out of the Amrit Sarovar. Himadri is the most continuous range of Himalayas which has the loftiest peaks and are perennially covered with snow. Singla Pass, Rurangla Pass and Marble Pass are some of the passes of the Janskar range. Ladakh range comprises Digarla Pass and Kardungla Pass. About the division of Himalayas. India comprises the Himalayas in the north and northeastern region, separating the country from the Tibetan Plateau. The Himalayan region consists of three parallel ranges. Himadri or Inner Himalaya or Greater Himalaya are the most continuous range, contains the loftiest peaks, are perennially covered with snow and are a source of famous glaciers like Siachen Glacier, the Gangotri and the Yamunotri, etc. Himachal or Lesser Himalaya are home to great valleys like Kashmir Valley, Kangra Valley, Kulu Valley. The region is also known for hill stations like Kullu Manali, Kufri Shimla, Mussoorie, Nainital, etc. Shivaliks are outer Himalayas extended through Pakistan, India, Nepal and Bhutan and are known for the Dun valleys and Terai region. Dehrai, Kotri, Chaukampatli and Kota are the major duns found in the region. These can be further divided into different ranges: Pir Panjal range, Ladakh range, Janskar range, Dauladhar range, East Karakoram range. Pir Panjal range, this is the largest range of the lower Himalayas and runs from the east to southeast to west to northwest. The Pir Panjal Pass lies to the west of Srinagar and comprises Banhilal Pass, Sintlal Pass, Rohtangla, Munwar Pass, and Hajipir Pass. Ladakh Range. This range extends from the north side of Leh to the Tibetan border. It comprises Digarla Pass and Kardungla Pass, considered a segment of the Karakoram mountain range. The Ladakh range has an extreme climate. Leh, which is the main town of the region, is regarded as a trade center for fine Pashima wool. Janskar Range. This range starts from southeastern boundaries of Kashmir and extends to the eastern limit of Baltistan. Singla Pass, Rundrangla Pass, Fautula Pass, Marbal Pass, and Zojila Pass are some of the passes of this range. Dhauladhar Range. This range rises from the plains of India to the north of Mandi and Kangra. Hanumanji Ka Tiba or the White Mountain is the highest peak. Dhauladhar Range. East Karakoram Range. This range separates from India from Central Asia and is also one of the larger ranges of Asia. It is home to the second highest peak of the world, K2 mountain. About Gupta Empire. The Gupta Empire was an ancient Indian empire which existed from the early 4th century CE to late 6th century CE, as its zenith from approximately 319 to 467 CE. It covered much of the Indian subcontinent. This period is considered as the golden age of India by historians. Monarchy was the dominant form of government during the Gupta period. King was the highest authority. Kings were given the titles like Maharaja Diraja, Parma Bhattaraka, and Parameshwara. The various high-ranking functionaries, including the Sandhi Vigrahika, Dandanayakas, and Mahadandanayakas. The Allahabad Prashasti refers to 3 Mahadandanayakas. The Gupta Empire was divided into provinces called Bhukti. These Bhuktis were administered by Uparika, who was appointed by king, and each Bhukti was divided into Vishyas. The village administration was overseen by village headman. So, unlike the Mauryan period, the administration in the Gupta period appears to be to have been managed from the ground up. The empire was called by various names such as Rajya, Rashtra, Desha, Mandala, Prithvi, and Avani. It was divided into 26 provinces, which was styled as Bhukti, Pradesha, and Bhoga. Provinces were also divided into Vishayas and put under the control of Vishayapatis. A Vishayapati administered the Vishaya with the help of the Adhikarana, the Council of Representatives, which comprised 4 representatives: Nagara Sheshti, Sartavaha, Pratama Kulika, and Pratama Kayastha as part of the Vishaya called Viti. The Gupta also had trading links with Sassanid and Byzantine Empire. The fourfold Varna system was observed under the Gupta period, but caste system was fluid. Brahmins followed non-Brahminical profession as well. Kshatriyas were involved in trade and commerce. The society largely coexisted among themselves. About August Declaration of 1917 and Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. As per the declaration, the control over the Indian government would be gradually transferred to the Indian people, and a responsible government would be set up gradually. Based on the discussions of August Declaration 1917, a detailed report on Indian constitutional reforms was prepared. This report became the basis for Government of India Act 1919. The Secretary of State for India, Edwin Samuel Montagu, made a statement on August 20, 1917 in the British House of Commons in what has come to be known as the August Declaration of 1917. The statement said the government policy is of an increasing participation of Indians in every branch of administration and gradual development of self-governing institutions with a view to the progressive realization of responsible government in India as an integral part of the British Empire. From now onwards, the demand by nationalists for self-government or home rule could not be termed as seditious, since attainment of self-government for Indians now became a government policy. Unlike Morley's statement in 1909 that the reforms were not intended to give self-government to India. Also, in the use of the term responsible government was implied the condition that the rulers were to be answerable to the elected representatives, and not only to the imperial government in London. Election Commission administers elections to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies in India, under the offices of the President and Vice President in the country. Election Commission of India (ECI). The Election Commission of India is a constitutional body. It was established by the Constitution of India to conduct and regulate the elections in the country. Article 324 of the Constitution provides that the power of superintendence, direction and control of elections to the Parliament, state legislatures, the office of the President of India and the office of Vice President of India shall be vested in the Election Commission. Thus, the Election Commission is an all India body in the sense that it is common to both central government and state governments. The body administers elections to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies, state legislative councils and the offices of the President and the Vice Presidents of the country. The Election Commission operates under the authority of Constitution as per Article 324 and subsequently enacted Representatives of the People Act. The Commission has the powers under the Constitution to act in appropriate manner when the enacted laws makes insufficient provisions to deal with a given situation in the conduct of an election. It is a permanent constitutional body. Bodoland Territorial Council in Assam is an exception among ADC with more than 40 members and the right to make laws on 39 issues. The sixth schedule under Article 244 provides the formation of autonomous administrative divisions, autonomous district councils (ADCs) that have some legislative, judicial and administrative autonomy with a state. Fifth and sixth schedule areas. The sixth schedule under Article 244 provides for the formation of autonomous administrative divisions, autonomous district councils that have some legislative, judicial and administrative autonomy within a state. ADCs have up to 30 members with a term of 5 years and can make laws, rules and regulations with regard to land, forest, water, agriculture, village councils, health, sanitation, village and town level policing, inheritance, marriage and diverse social customs and mining, etc. The sixth schedule applies to northeastern states of Assam, AMTM, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. Mizoram 3 council seats and Tripura 1 council. The fifth schedule deals with the administration of scheduled areas where tribal communities are in a majority. Tribal advisory councils, TACs, are constitutional bodies formed under the fifth schedule to deal with welfare and advancement of scheduled tribes in states. As per 10 states, namely Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, Rajasthan and Telangana have fifth schedule areas. Local bodies in India. The minimum age for contesting elections to the Panchayat Raj institutions be 21 years. Panchayat Raj institution was constitutionalized through the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992 to build democracy at the grassroots level and was entrusted with the task of rural development in the country. This act has added a new part 9 to the Constitution of India. This part is entitled as the Panchayats and consists of provisions from Article 243 to 243O. In addition, the Act has also added a new 11th schedule to the Constitution. This schedule contains 29 functional items of the Panchayats. It deals with Article 243G. Urban local governments were established with the purpose of democratic decentralization. There are 8 types of urban local governments in India: municipal corporation, municipality, notified area committee, town area committee, cantonment board, township, port trust, special purpose agency. Right against exploitation. The Supreme Court held that the word force within Article 23 has a very wide meaning. It includes physical force, legal force and other economic factors which force a person to provide labor at a wage less than minimum wage. Hence, if a person is forced to provide labor for less than a minimum wage just because of poverty, want, destitution or hunger, it would be accounted as forced labor. The Indian laws prohibit slavery, any act which harms the dignity and freedom of a person. Yet there are people who still view themselves as superior to others. As a result, many people are forced to work against their will at cheap rates, and millions of women and children become victims of human trafficking. In 2016, there were 18.3 million people in modern slavery in India, according to Global Slavery Index. The 2018 Global Slavery Survey reported stated that there has been a further additions of forced sexual exploitation and child labor in the country. The right against exploitation, enshrined in Article 23 and 24 of the Indian Constitution, guarantees human dignity and protects people from any such exploitation, thus upholding the principles of human dignity and liberty upon which the Indian Constitution is based. Supreme Court laid down guidelines for the determination of bonded laborers in Bandhu Mukti Morcha versus Union of India, and also provided that it is the duty of the state government to identify, release and rehabilitate the bonded laborers. Office of profit. The law does not clearly define what constitutes an office of profit, but the definition has evolved over the years with interpretation made in various court judgments. Under the provisions of Article 102 Clause 1 and Article 191 Clause 1 of the Constitution, an MP or an MLA or an MLC is barred from holding any office of profit under the central or state government. Office of profit. The law does not clearly define what constitutes an office of profit, but the definition has evolved over the years with the interpretation made in various court judgments. An office of profit has been interpreted to be a position that brings to the office holder some financial gain or advantage or benefits. The amount of such profit is immaterial. In 1964, the Supreme Court ruled that the test for determining whether a person holds an office of profit is the test of appointment. Several factors are considered in this determination, including factors such as whether the government is the appointing authority, whether the government has the power to terminate the appointment, whether the government determines the remuneration, what is the source of remuneration, and the power that comes with the position. Under the provision Article 102 Clause 1 and Article 191 Clause 1 of the Constitution, an MP or an MLA or an MLC is barred from holding any office of profit under the central or state government. The article clarifies that a person shall not be deemed to hold an office of profit under the government of India or the government of any state by reason only that he is a minister. The Constitution specifies that the number of ministers, including the chief minister, has to be within 15% of the total number of members of the assembly, 10% in the case of Delhi, which is a union territory with legislature. There is no bar on how many officers can be exempted from the purview of the law. There is no bar on how many officers can be exempted from the purview of the law. The Constitution specifies that the number of ministers, including the chief minister, has to be within 15% of the total number of the members of the assembly, 10% in the case of Delhi, which is a union territory with the legislature. Hydroelectric power plant HPP river. Hydroelectric power plant river. Natpa, Jakari, Sutlej, Tehri, Bhagirathi, Balimela, Sileru, Salal, Chenab. Hydroelectric power plant and rivers. Natpa, Jakari. At 1500 megawatts capacity, Natpa Jakari is the largest hydropower project on the Sutlej river in the state of Himachal Pradesh in northern India. Tehri Dam. The Tehri Dam, a 260.5 meters high earth and rockfill dam, impounds water 44 kilometers along Bhagirathi river and 25 kilometers along Bilnanga river, creating a dead storage of 925 mm cube and a live storage of 2615 mm cube, making a total storage capacity of 3540 mm cube. Impoundment commenced in 2005. Balimela Dam. It is in Malkangiri district, which is 35 kilometers from the east of Malkangiri. A hydroelectric project has been established near about the town jointly by the government of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. A dam is being constructed at Chitrakonda, 25 km from Balimela across the river Sileru. Salal Power Project. Salal Power Project is also a source of attraction for visitors, situated 23 km away from the district headquarters, Rezi, surrounded by mountains. Salal Hydroelectric Project, constructed on river Chenab in the district Rezi. The project has capacity of 690 megawatts. The beneficiary states are UP, J&K, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Chandigarh and Rajasthan. The visitors show enthusiasts to have a sight of the project. Salal Power Project. About Mughal economy, agriculture was the main source of national income, and the majority of the population used to depend on this during Mughal administration. The major crops that were cultivated in the Mughal era were millets, oilseeds, cereals, sugarcane, cotton, etc. About Mughal economy, the economy in Mughal Empire depended on agriculture, trade and other industries. Agriculture has always been a backbone of the economy in India. Hence, agriculture was the main source of national income, and majority of the population used to depend on agriculture during Mughal administration. The major crops that were cultivated in the Mughal era were millets, oilseeds, cereals, sugarcane, cotton, etc. Transport and communication facilities also helped in improving the Mughal economy. Mughal Emperor Babur backed the cultivation of several Asian fruits in India. During the reign of Mughal Emperor Akbar, textile industries evolved to a great extent. During the reign of Mughal Emperor Jahangir, cultivation of tobacco and potato were introduced by the Portuguese. Cotton was also traded on a large scale in the Mughal period. To capture the market, Mughal emperors preferred to settle in towns and cities. During the 18th century, Mughal Empire first fell to Marathas and then under the hands of British Empire. The Mughals started losing their grip in the market. Special Economic Zone. The main objectives of the Special Economic Zone schemes are generally generation of additional economic activity, promotion of exports and goods and services, promotion of investment from domestic foreign sources, creation of employment opportunities, along with the development of infrastructure facilities. All laws of India are applicable in Special Economic Zones unless specifically exempted as per the SC Special Economic Zone Act or rules. Each zone is headed by a development commissioner and is administered as per the SCZ Act 2005 and SCZ Rules 2006. Units may be set up in the SCZ for manufacturing, trading or for service activity. The Special Economic Zone Amendment Bill 2019 amended the SCZ Act of 2005 to add two new categories: trust or entity, as may be notified by the central government, among those eligible for setting up units in the notified SCZs. This was done by amending the definition of a person recognized in the original law as an entrepreneur eligible to be given permission to set up a unit in Special Economic Zone. So far, a person meant an individual, whether resident in India or outside India, a Hindu divided family, cooperative society, a company, whether incorporated in India or outside India, a firm, proprietary concern or an association of persons or a body of individuals, whether incorporated or not, local authority and any agency, office or branch owned or controlled by such individual, Hindu undivided family, cooperative association, body, authority or company. Suffer. The system of air quality and weather forecasting and research. The system of air quality and weather forecasting and research, SAFAR, is an initiative introduced by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Air quality index is calculated for 8 major pollutants: ground level ozone, PM10, PM2.5, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ammonia, lead, in addition to regular air quality parameters like PM2.5, PM10, sulfur dioxide, ozone, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide. The SAFAR system will also monitor the existence of benzene, toluene and xylene. About SAFAR, the system is indigenously developed by the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology IITM Pune and is operationalized by the Indian Meteorological Department (IMD). The gained true color LED display gives out real-time air quality index on 24/7 basis with color coding with along with 72-hour advance forecast. The system will be an integral part of India's first air quality early warning system operational in Delhi. SAFAR will accelerate public awareness and preparedness of air pollution and weather extremes. It will also lead to better understanding of linkages among emissions, weather, pollution and climate. It will monitor all weather parameters like temperature, rainfall, humidity and wind speed and wind direction. About air quality index, the air quality is an index for reporting daily air quality. It tells you how clean or polluted your air is and what associated health effects might be a concern for you. The air quality index focuses on health effects you may experience within a few hours or days after breathing polluted air. The air quality index is calculated for eight major air pollutants: ground level ozone, PM10, PM2.5, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ammonia, lead. There are 6 air quality index categories, namely good plus satisfactory, moderately polluted, poor, very poor and severe. Shanghai Cooperation Organization Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure SCO RATS. The agreement on establishment of the regional anti-terrorist structure designated as a permanent body of the SCO was signed during the meeting of the Council of Head of State of the SCO member states on June 2002 in St. Petersburg. Since its establishment, the regional anti-terrorist structure of the Shanghai Cooperation SCO RATS has made a significant contribution to the development of the organization and has become its supporting pillar and coordinating center in combating terrorism, separatism and extremism at the regional and global levels. The international prestige of RATS grows year on year as it turns into a estimatable example of multilateral cooperation that ensures tangible success in the field of security. At the stage of development of the RATS, the main focus was the establishment of an organizational and legal framework that determined the principles and areas of cooperation and ensured proper functioning of its working bodies, namely the Council and the Executive Committee. Hwasong 17. The Hwasong 17 is a nuclear armed North Korea's biggest missile yet and is the largest road mobile liquefied fueled ICBM in the world. Its diameter is estimated to be between 2.4 and 2.5 meters and its total mass when fully fueled is likely somewhere between 80,000 and 110,000 kg according to 38 North, a US based program that monitors North Korea. Unlike North Korea's earlier ICBMs, the Hwasong 17 is launched directly from a transporter, erector, launcher, vehicle and 11 axles. Photos by state media showed the missile launched on Friday flew nearly 1000 kilometers 621 miles for about 69 minutes and reached an altitude of 6.6041 kilometers. Ocean currents: Labrador current, Benguela current, Falkland current, Kuroshio current. Labrador current, it flows from the Arctic Ocean towards the south and meets the warm northward moving Gulf Stream. The combination of cold Labrador current and warm Gulf Stream is known for creating one of the richest fishing grounds in the world. Benguela current, branch of west wind drift of the southern hemisphere, eastern portion of South Atlantic Ocean gyre, low salinity, presence of upwelling, excellent fishing zone. Falkland current, it is a branch of Antarctic circumpolar current. It is also known as Malvinas current. It is named after the Falkland Islands. This is cold current mixes with warm Brazil current and forms the Brazil Malvinas confluence zone, which is responsible for the region's temperate climate. Kuroshio current, this west boundary current is also known as Japan's current or black current. The term Kuroshio in Japan means black stream. It is the Pacific analog of the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic Ocean. The average surface of the temperature of this current is warmer than the surrounding ocean. This also helps in regulating the temperature of Japan, which is relatively warmer. Kuroshio. Antarctic drift, southern hemisphere. Okay. During this season, the northeast trade and winds prevail over the country. The northern plains see the inflow of cyclonic disturbances originated over Mediterranean Sea. Temperate cyclones and western disturbances of India. Oversight and coordination. All commercial ships are required to register directly with the JCC to ensure appropriate monitoring, inspection and safe passage. About Black Sea Grain Initiative and JCC. The deal was to provide for a safe maritime humanitarian corridor for Ukrainian exports, particularly for food grains, from three of its key ports, namely Kronomarks, Odessa, and Yuzhny Pivdeny in the Black Sea. The JCC was established on 27th July 2022 in Istanbul. The JCC comprises representatives of Ukraine, the Russian Federation, Turkey, and the United Nations. The JCC was born out of the recognition of the critical importance of global food security and its significant dependence on the supply of grain and other foodstuffs produced in the region. The initiative is focused on exporting grain, the foodstuffs, and fertilizers, including ammonia from Ukraine. The cold weather season begins from. The deal put in place a joint coordination center comprising senior representatives from Russia, Turkey, Ukraine, and the UN for oversight and coordination. All commercial ships are required to register directly with the JCC to ensure appropriate monitoring, inspection, and safe passage. Temperate cyclones and western disturbances on India. The cold weather season begins from mid-November in northern India and stays till February. December and January are the coldest months in the northern part of India. The temperature decreases from south to the north. The average temperature of Chennai on the eastern coast is between 24 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius, while in the northern plains it ranges between 10 degrees to 15 degrees Celsius. Days are warm and nights are cold. Frost is common in the north and higher slopes of the Himalayas experience snowfall during the season. The northeastern trade winds prevail over the country. They blow from land to sea and hence for most part of the country. It is a dry season. Some amount of rainfall occurs on the Tamil Nadu coast from these winds as here they blow from sea to land. In northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure region develops with light winds moving towards from this area. Influenced by the relief, these winds blow through the Ganga Valley from the west and northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky, low temperatures and low humidity, and feeble variable winds. A characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plains is the inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. These low pressure systems originate over the Mediterranean Sea and Western Asia and move into India along with the westerly flow. They cause the much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Although the total amount of winter rainfall, locally known as Mahavat, is small, they are of immense importance for the cultivation of rabi crops. The peninsular region does not have a well-defined cold season. There is hardly any noticeable seasonal change in temperature pattern during winters due to the moderating influence of the sea. Lower judiciary in India. Chief Judicial Magistrate may pass a sentence prescribed by law except for death, life imprisonment or a term above 7 years. Low judiciary in India. The district courts are mainly run by the state government appointed district judges. There are additional district judges and assistant district judges who are there to share the additional load of the proceedings of district courts. The selection process to lower judicial is conducted by the State Public Service Commission and the concerned High Court. The district municip is the lowest handling court of civil cases in a district. It is generally under the purview of the district court and its pecuniary limits are notified by the state government. These additional district judges have equal power like the district judges for the jurisdiction area of any city which has got by status of metropolitan area was conferred by the state government. These district courts have the additional jurisdictional authority of appealing handling over the subordinate courts which are there in the same district, specifically in the domain of civil and criminal affairs. The subordinate courts covering the civil cases in this aspect are considered as junior civil judge courts, principal, junior and civil judge court, which are also known as sub courts, subordinate courts. All these courts are treated with ascending orders. The subordinate courts covering the judicial criminal cases, covering the criminal cases are a second class judicial magistrate court, first class judicial magistrate court, and chief judicial magistrate court, along with family courts, which are founded to deal with the issues related to disputes of matrimonial issues only. The status of principal judge of family court is at par with the district judge. Convention or protocols. Nagoya Protocol 2010, Cartagena 2003. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CVD, known formally as the Biodiversity Convention, is a multilateral treaty. The convention has three main goals: the conservation of biological diversity or biodiversity, the sustainable use of its components, and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources. The convention was opened for signature at the Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro on 5th June 1992 and entered into force on 29 December 1993. The Nagoya Protocol on access to genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity, also known as the Nagoya Protocol on Access and Benefits Sharing, ABS, is a 2010 supplementary agreement to the 1992 Convention on Biological Diversity. The Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety to the Convention on Biological Diversity is the international agreement on biosafety as a supplement to the Convention on Biological Diversity, effective since 2003. The Biosafety Protocol seeks to protect biological diversity from the potential risks posed by genetically modified organisms resulting from modern biotechnology. The Rotterdam Convention, formerly the Rotterdam Convention on the prior informed consent procedure for certain hazardous chemicals and pesticides in international trade, is a multilateral treaty and to promote shared responsibilities in relation to importation of hazardous chemicals. It became effective in 2004. Remote sensing and applications. Remote sensing is the process of detecting and monitoring the physical characteristics of an area by measuring its reflected and emitted radiation at a distance, typically from a satellite or aircraft. Special cameras collect remotely sensed images which help researchers sense things about the Earth. Remote sensors collect data by detecting the energy that is reflected from Earth. These sensors can be on satellite or mounted on aircraft. Remote sensors can be either passive or active. Passive sensors respond to external stimuli. They record natural energy that is reflected or emitted from the Earth's surface. The most common source of radiation detected by passive sensors is reflected sunlight. In contrast, active sensors are internal stimuli to collect data about Earth. For example, a laser beam remote sensing system projects a laser onto the surface of Earth and measures the time that it takes for the laser to reflect back to its sensor. These types of orbits are typically used in remote sensing satellites such as geostationary, equatorial, and sun synchronous orbits. Some specific uses of remotely sensed images of the Earth include: large forest fires can be mapped from space, allowing rangers to see a much larger area than from the ground; tracking clouds to help predict the weather, or watching erupting volcanoes and help watching for dust storms; tracking the growth of a city and changes in farmland and forest over several years or decades; discovery and mapping of the rugged topography of the ocean floor, example, huge mountain ranges, deep canyons, and the magnetic striping. National Anti-Profiteering Authority. Any reduction in rate of tax on a supply of goods or services or the benefit of input tax credit should be passed to the recipient by way of commensurate reduction in prices. However, it has been the experience of many countries that when GST was introduced, that there has been a marked increase in inflation and the prices of the commodities. This happened in spite of the availability of the tax credit and right from the production stage to the final consumption stage, which should have actually reduced the final prices. This was happening because the suppliers were not passing on the commensurate benefits to the consumer and thereby indulging in illegal profiteering. National Anti-Profiteering Authority (NAA) is therefore being constituted by the central government to examine whether additional input tax credits availed by any registered person or the reduction in tax rate have actually resulted in commensurate reduction in prices. The National Anti-Profiteering Authority is the statutory mechanism under GST law to check the unfair profiteering activities by registered suppliers under GST law. The authority's core function is to ensure that the commensurate benefits of the reduction in GST rates on goods and services done by the GST Council under the input tax credit are passed on the recipients by way of commensurate reduction in the prices by suppliers. The legal mandate of NAA, National Anti-Profiteering Authority, is to examine and check such profiteering activities and recommend punitive actions, including cancellation of registration. The chairman NAA, along with 4 technical members and with help of the standing committee, screening committee in every state, and the director of general of anti-profiteering in the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs will work together on the anti-profiteering unit. Scores is an online platform designed to help investors to lodge their complaints pertaining to securities market online with SEBI against listed companies and SEBI registered intermediaries. All complaints received by SEBI against listed companies and SEBI registered intermediaries are dealt through scores. Complaints arising out of issues that are covered under SEBI Act, Securities Contract Regulation Act, Depositories Act, and the rules and regulations made there under relevant provisions of the Companies Act 2013. Matters that cannot be considered as complaints in scores: complaint not pertaining to investment in securities market, anonymous complaints except whistleblower complaints, incomplete or unspecific complaints, allegations without supporting documents, suggestions or seeking guidance or explanation, not satisfied with the trading price of the shares of the companies, non-listing of shares of private offer, disputes arising out of private agreement with companies and or intermediaries, matter involving fake or forged documents, complaints on matters not in SEBI purview, complaints about any unregistered regulated activity. Sovereign green bonds framework. Green bonds are financial instruments that generate proceeds for investment in environmentally sustainable and climate suitable projects by virtue of their indication towards environmental sustainability. Green bonds command a relatively lower cost of capital, vice versa. Regular bonds and necessities credibility and commitments associated with the process of raising bonds. In the above context, India's first sovereign green bonds framework was formulated as per the provision of the framework. A green finance working committee was constituted to validate key decisions on issuance of sovereign green bonds. Further, CICERO, an independent and globally renowned Norway-based second-party opinion provider, was appointed to evaluate India's green bonds framework and certify alignment of the framework with ICMA's green bond principles and international best practices. After due deliberation and consideration, CICERO has rated India's green bonds framework as medium green with a good governance score. Green bonds are bonds issued by any sovereign entity, intergovernmental groups for alliances and corporates with aim that the proceeds of the bonds are utilized for project classified as environmentally sustainable. The framework for the sovereign green bond was issued by the government on November 9, 2022. Over the last few years, green bonds have emerged as an important financial instrument to deal with the threats of climate change and related challenge. According to the International Finance Corporation, IFC, a World Bank Group's institution, climate change threatens communities and economies, and it poses risk for agriculture, food and water supplies. A lot of financing is needed to address these challenges. It's critical to connect environmental projects with capital markets and investors and channel capital towards sustainable development, and green bonds are a way to make that connection. Green bonds offer investors a platform to engage in good practices influencing the business strategy of bond issuers. They provide a means to hedge against climate change risk while achieving at least similar, if not better, returns on their investment. In this way, the growth in green bonds and green finance also indirectly works to disincentivize high carbon emitting projects. As per the IFC, the government will use the proceeds raised from SGRBs to finance and refinance expenditure for various green projects, including renewable energy, clean transportation, energy efficiency, climate change adaptation, sustainable water waste management, pollution and prevention control, and green buildings. In renewable energy, investments will be made in solar, wind, biomass, and hydropower energy projects. About Vijayanagara Empire. The rulers of Vijayanagara were Vishnu devotees, but they practiced religious tolerance for all. Vijayanagara society had a patriarchal family system. The women did not have economic and social freedom. However, women were respected in the Vijayanagara Empire, and they were educated and trained in various fields like music, fine arts, wrestling, and the use of weapons, and much more. Some even received a education of high order. There were many women astrologers, wrestlers, accounts clerks, and guards. About Vijayanagara Empire. In 1336, Vijayanagara kingdom was established by Harihara and Bukkaraya, who were two brothers and served in the army of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. They broke away from the Delhi Sultanate and established a new independent state in Karnataka and established the capital city Vijayanagara on the banks of river Tungabhadra in 1336. Harihara and Bukka were helped and inspired by contemporary scholar and Saint Vidyaranya for the establishment of their kingdom. In this his Manucharitam, Alasani Peddana mentions 4 castes in Vijayanagara society: Brahmins, Rachavaru, Vaisyas, and Sudras. Slavery is mentioned by Niccolo Conti. It was about Angarwat temple. It was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu before becoming a Buddhist temple by the end of the 12th century. It is located in Cambodia. Angkor Wat temple complex at Angkor, Cambodia. It is a vast religious complex comprising more than 1,000 buildings, built by King Suryavarman II, reigned 1113 C 1150 in the 12th century. Type Buddhist temple complex. It was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu before becoming a Buddhist temple by the end of 12th century. Architecture. Angkor Wat is the world's largest religious structure, covering some 400 acres 160 hectares, and marks the high point of Khmer architecture. Stylized elements. The ogival lotus bud-shaped towers, half galleries, axial galleries, connecting enclosures, and cruciform terraces. In 1992, the temple complex was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 1992, the temple complex was named a UNESCO World Heritage. Representation. Angkor Wat is said to represent Mount Meru, the home of the gods, according to the both Hindu and Buddhist. The city of Angkor, home to Angkor Wat, was capital of the Khmer Empire and thrived between the 9th and 15th century. Other famous people: Angkor Thom, Bayon Temple, and Ta Prohem. The temple was designed and built on the basis of religious and political ideas imported from India, albeit adapted to local conditions from the time of King Yashovarman I, for whom the city, originally called Yashodarapura, was named. Angkor was designed a symbolic universe model on traditional Indian cosmology.